Hello everyone and welcome to the LSI F1 World Championship. We're today for the Austrian Grand Prix round 2 of the season out of 12. Let's see how this one goes and how it's going. It's Charlie on top with a 3.340, pretty rapid right out of the gates, 8 minutes on the clock. And we have an interesting situation regarding the race. I've been told that it's going to be a dry start and a wet middle and end to the Grand Prix. That means that these cars are likely to be using a little bit higher downforce compared to what you would in the dry. So, the lap times are expected to be a little bit slower for some, but we'll see how that one goes. We've got Verf currently on a lap, and that's why we're on board with them, but it's Jericho Willis P2, Eagle Pro, then Verf, then we've got Sulkin in the Williams who's moved to Williams permanently, Tom Rob's also moved to Ferrari permanently, and it is Zingy in P6, the championship leader from last time around. A few yellows further back, but Verf will not be affected and they'll be able to complete their lap as normal. Into the final sector, a little bit scrubbing on the front end unfortunately. That looked a little bit skittish. Across the line with DRS, and it's going to be a P2 and a 2/10 improvement. And are still a few tenths away from Charlie, currently in P1. It's a brilliant effort there from Verf. Still plenty of time in this session to go, and of course, as I said, the setups can be very, very different. That's what we've got to look out for here today. Jericho Willis had some brilliant form getting that podium. I say that, getting that podium. Getting the podium, the victory in the F1.5 race, still against many LSI drivers. It was a brilliant achievement. So hopefully they can carry that good momentum into this weekend as well. That would be very ideal for their situation. We've got both racing balls out on track as well, just behind, but we will stay on board. Actually, we won't stay on board. We'll go to, I think it's going to be Zingy who's setting their lap, and they're currently going purple, 2.5 tenths up. They've got the final sector to get through, and they've got to try and find even more time. They've got to basically find, what is that, 7, 8 tenths to catch Charlie. Oh, and they've gone over the line, but they've still kept it valid, and it's going to be a 2.5 tenth improvement, a 3.861, and very close to the cars both ahead of them and just directly behind, but nowhere near Charlie's time at the moment. And I think they would have probably lost a lot of time by going off at that point, but we'll see how that one goes for them a little bit later on. We've got Edvir starting their lap, but it's Nifayan who's up into turn 3 right now. DRS and ERS a little bit skirmish on the tyres. Second lap on this soft tyre, so they're going to lose some performance. And they haven't set a timed lap yet, so they've had some sort of issue in the session so far. Some brilliant racecraft in the Dutch Grand Prix last weekend, apart from a couple of moments where it did go slightly wrong, and that was really, in my opinion, what made the difference between P2 and P3 in that race. A podium's still very good result, and it does put the Racing Bull cars in the lead of the team's championship. And here goes Nifayan into the final sector, diving to the right-hand side as you just let the car dip to the left, and it's going to be a car off on the grass to move out the way. It's going to be Nifo to P2. Margins ahead of Verf. Margins ahead of Verf, but Charlie looking pretty confident, hasn't been on track since, and seems all good to go. That's going to be Jericho Willis in the pits. It's Sulkin once again out to try and see if they can do anything. Having an interesting strategy situation last time around. I think that maybe actually the Saturday tier, and they did lose out unfortunately, so they're hoping to be treated a little bit nicer by the racing gods this time around. We've got Livesey on their second race for LSI, and it's Devon Young's first race of the season. We've got Edvir in P10 at the moment, hoping for a bit of a better start as well, because their start was so unfortunate in Zandvoort, their home Grand Prix, that the next circuit that's just a couple of countries away from them should hopefully be a little bit better. And we've got the outlap from Eagle Pro. And I think we will actually go back with Sulkin, because this is an in-lap here for the Mercedes. Sulkin going into turn 3, They are looking for something right now. Lots of cars in the pit lane with 4 minutes on the clock, and that's showing you that they're getting ready for their final run here in qualifying, where track evolution should be a thing, but we need to think about the race setup, the race tyres, the race strategy. It's going to be absolutely crazy. It's going to be a bit of a skiddy front end once again for Sulkin here, and many drivers struggling with the grip in the front end, and you just can't find it later on as the tyres heat up. It's a short lap, so really the tyres shouldn't be heating up that much, but in that middle sector it does get pretty brutal. And now they go into the final sector. Watch those front end. That's actually pretty good there for Sulkin, keeping it within track limits as well nicely. The final corner, absolutely brutal. DRS and ERS across the line, and it's going to be a half a tenth improvement. No position will be gained. It's Egapro, who 1 season ago took victory here at this circuit. The Red Bull Ring was theirs. They are currently the Red Bull Ring champion of the world. Are they going to be able to retain their crown this weekend? So far, P6 out of 11 cars, and they are a fair few tenths away behind, but they are the last car in the 3-second margin. They are also going for their lap pretty early on compared to everybody else, so they're not going to be able to utilise the track evolution, but they're going to get a clean lap, as we've seen them do so many times before, and it works out quite nicely. DRS, ERS, very fast in the final sector for Egapro, and it's going to be a P2. How about that? So 3.615. Once again, not utilising that track evolution, but they've got the lap in, and they're now P2. If other cars make mistakes or get in the way of each other, then they are good to go. That is a brilliant lap right there, position-wise as well, perfect for Egapro. It is brutal into turn 1 at Austria here, so we've got to hope that everybody plays ball. It's going to be competitive, and that's where it does get pretty close, so hopefully we can have a clean first corner. We've got Verf on an out lap, but we've also got actually Sulkin on a second lap on this tyre. They're going once more. We've got Tom, who leaves the first corner to go for their lap again. Staying on board with Sulkin though, and looking like they were really trying to rotate that car nice and hard. I don't know how that was working for them. It's Tom, who I think has slowed down on this lap already, and they are going to go again. There was a yellow, unless it was for the cars behind who are actually going slower, so that would make more sense. But we stay on board with the Norwegian, who has a car up in front of them, who does move out the way nicely. We've just got a few moments of the session left, and then we will pick the car to go on board with to finish the session, and I think it might be this guy's teammate, because they are on pole position. That's going to be Sulkin into the pit lane, and that is it done. It's going to be Zingy, P6, starting their lap, but it's Charlie. They will go first, not first, they are first, and we will watch them first. We will miss out on Zingy's lap, but we want to see what the current pole sitter is running and what they're looking like. ERS not being used right up until the line there, and it's going to be the first corner, up and grabbed all the way. Oh, and it's done. It is done. Unfortunately, pulling it a little bit too tight over the curb, and that's going to be it for them. It's going to be Zingy into the final corner of the, I was going to say final corner of the far sector, but it's not. They're in the middle sector. It doesn't matter where they are on the circuit. They're getting the lap done. They're going over a sector line very shortly, and we'll see where they are running. They were improving a minute ago. They're still improving now, but it wouldn't be enough. Charlie might have done enough to secure this position here. Egapro, done. Charlie, done. Zingy coming into the final few corners to finish their session. They're wide. They're wide at turn 9. Turn 10 is up next. DRS, ERS across the line for Zingy. And it's going to be a P2. A 0.526. And they're slowly gaining on Charlie. The cars behind it's going to be Verf. Too slow for them. We are going to see an improvement here for Nifayano. What can the Dutchmen do? Can they get themselves back up the front? Can they get themselves onto pole position for the Austrian Grand Prix? Oh no, that's not going to work. That's never going to work. Oh, what a shame. What a shame. and they've gone to try and improve off on the grass, and it's not really worked out for them there in the end. Jericho Willis will go up next, and nobody's been able to compete with Charlie so far. What can the American do? Across the line, pushing the limit on the exit, and it's going to be still P6, half a tenth improvement. That's the qualifying done, and that's Charlie, although messing up their final run, getting the job. And they will start the Austrian Grand Prix in the safest possible position you can do, other than where Tom is. Brilliant stuff there for Charlie in their first race of the season, looking strong. What can they do in the race? What can they do with the scenario that we're given with the weather conditions? That is the grid. We'll go through it in a second. It is Charlie on pole position, Zingy in P2 and Eagle Pro in P3. Eagle going round here very well in the past. Let's see how it goes. See you in a bit. Ready, hold, go! Who's going to get it into turn one? Charlie in P1 looks like a good getaway, and Zingy slots in behind. There's Eagle Pro staying accordingly, but it's 3 wide in the background, and it's just about keeping in a straight line as the McLaren of Jericho Willis, who drops down the order. Off the beginning, it's sulking up to P5 with a brilliant start. A brilliant start indeed. The Jericho Willis trying to spot away around the outside. It's Tom Robb on the inside, and there's contact with Livesey. Unfortunately, I don't know what happened there. but they were trying to sort each other out, and it's not going to quite work out. Devon Young not with the best qualifying that they wanted around the Red Bull ring in the Red Bull car, but they are into P9 ahead of their former teammates, and now they've got the Aston Martin up next. These guys have never come together on track before. It's going to be Zingy though, around the outside, swooping through. What a move! I don't know how that just happened, but they must have been side by side with the previous corner to cause Charlie to have a bit of a compromise run, or there's some sort of issue because Egopro's now giving it a go, and it looks like they've already got the move done. The inside line is going to be theirs, the line is going to be theirs. That is a brilliant move there for Egopro as well. Charlie is struggling on the medium tyre as well. I think everybody should be on the medium tyre except from a few. Verf, that is Devon Young, Tom Robb, all on the hard tyre, although we're expecting to see some wet conditions coming in a bit, and that's going to be, I think, the Williams of Sulkin going for the move accidentally on Nifayan, and it's going to be a drag race into turn 4. Nifayan had to react to that one. Charlie having an issue. It's going to be 3 wide into the corner. Nifo swoops through. Oh, I don't know what's going on, but Charlie's just dropping like a stone. This does not make any sense at all, but there must be some bigger issue that we just don't know about. It's Nifayan and Sulkin just about making it around Charlie's car. The pole sitter is just having a massive problem. In a straight line, I don't know if they've just got a wet setup on and that's why, and they're just suffering now, but they'll be absolutely insane later. That would explain the big qualifying gap for sure, but I'm not convinced. I feel like there shouldn't be that much of an issue, but maybe it is. Maybe it is the cause. The fastest laps are coming in. We're not going to see Verf go for a move on Charlie. We might see a move from Devon Young though on the inside line. We're going to see a move up in front as well potentially. There it is though. Devon to the outside line trying to have a go. Jericho Willis leaves the space. These guys have come together in the past, but now they're both permanent drivers racing in their own tier. They have to sort it out on track and they do so. Brilliant stuff right there. I think that was Sulkin almost having a look once again at Nifayan, and Nifo's kind of getting traumatized by Sulkin a little bit here as they continue to pester them for looking at moves here and there. We have Egopro P2, the championship leader in P1. Egopro winning, of course, here, competing with Zingy for that victory. Currently, we've got 8 championships in the top 3 of the grid right now, so if you're not in the top 3, then I don't blame you. It's pretty difficult to get there, and Sulkin is the next one up, who's had a brilliant start to the Grand Prix compared to their previous races, and I think they're going to be pretty happy with this one. Are they going to also look for a move? Is someone surely going to have a go? It's going to be Egopro, forced himself to go to the inside, and there's once more contact, and the Williams is going to really distract Nefo now. They were looking for the move. They've now gone defensive because that's Charlie looking for the move as well. And once again, Sulkin's going to make contact with the back of Nefo. We're going to see side by side with Egopro, who's now looking to the outside line, and they don't want to go for the move eventually. But it looked like what I wanted to say was Egopro was going on the attack into turn 3 to defend from Nefo. Sulkin couldn't really figure out what to do because everything was slowing up in front, and that's what's caused the contact, and then everything changed accordingly. And Sulkin wasn't willing to give their position to their teammate, interestingly, losing momentum but not willing to let Charlie go through. And Verf was right behind there as well. Verf's on that hard tyre, so they're going to be in an interesting position for their race. If they get everything really right, then their race is going to go very well, but I'm not entirely sure. This medium tyre is pretty strong, especially when there's a lot of cars doing it. It's the outside line for Egopro, and I think it's going to be the move attempted. It's going to be Zingy giving him absolutely minimal space. That's always going to be the case right there. They go back into answered no, it's DRS for the Scotsman. Of course it is. It's Nifo who also had DRS but was not in a position to overtake. It's Verth. It's Verth. I do not believe it. And it's the McLaren of Jericho Willis who makes 2 moves on the Williams and ends up behind both of them all of a sudden and is now once again competing with Devon Young down in P7, 8. I don't know where Jericho Willis just came from, but they must have had some sort of issue unless they outbroke themselves. I don't know, but we just missed that just behind us as we were watching the battle for the lead. It's Sulkin who has been overtaken by Verth, getting a time penalty as Charlie and Jericho Willis on lap 6 out of 36. That's not ideal. We've still got a long way to go though. One of the most difficult circuits to have a time penalty at, one of the most difficult circuits to stay away from the time penalties as well. It's absolutely brutal. It's just very ironic that it has both characteristics. That is, Verth now trying to hope that this tyre will get better and better, and they say hope it will get better and better. It's just when will that rain kick in? That's the question. It's Zingy who continues to control the pace, and Eagle's going to feel the pressure. That's actually though Zingy feeling the pressure as they make a mistake. Eagle's not going to take any second invitation. They are going to take the lead of the Grand Prix. Now this does leave him vulnerable for the double overtake from the Racing Bulls. They will be communicating and they can slingshot, but they can't really rely on that too much considering this man is directly behind them and could change the entire race if they get in front. They do not want a hard tyre to be in front. Zingy is currently backing up a little bit, I'd assume, as Eagle pushes, and then they'll be able to push up to the back of Eagle here and prevent Nifo from really struggling into turn 1 and now go for the move on Eagle Pro. At least one of the Racing Bulls, if not both. Nifo's pushing, trying to get Zingy to do it, but it didn't really happen until too late. It's going to be Zingy going for the move. It's going to be DRS for Nifo, no DRS for Eagle Pro. Oh, it's no DRS for both drivers. Nifo's going to be going for the move. He might even go for the double. No, he gets boxed in. He will at least get a move on the Aston Martin, who's fighting back into turn 4 on the exit. It's very, very pushy and shovey. And it's just about the Serbians staying in front. That is a brilliant, brilliant defence there for Eagle Pro. And Nifo wasn't really shown many options there. But really managing to keep Verth behind in that moment. I don't think Verth's really in a rush to get anywhere so far because they know that they're in a strong position. So fair enough to them. They also know in front that that is the case for Verth. They're going to be hungry for more, but they're also in a strong position, so they can leave them for a bit as they fight each other. It's Charlie and Jericho still the ones with the time penalties. We've seen Devon Young overtake Jericho and not return the position for a while now. It's Tom in P9. Everyone in the train except from Edvir, who's unfortunately had an issue. We've got Livesey in P10 at the back of the pack. It's all pretty close. High octane stuff here, high adrenaline. Igor probably some of the most as their P2 at the moment. It's Nifo. Oh, it's so close. I don't know where to look. Everything is really, really nose to tail as the crocodile of cars just swoops around the track. You say crocodile, you can say snake, whatever you want to call it. It just is a spectacle to see. It's Zingy leading the way, and it's Eagle Pro who will pull the pin on any kind of overtake, and we'll get to see something crazy happen. Tom, 6 tenths behind on the hard tyre of Jericho Willis. It's Devon Young who's going for the move. Oh, something's happened there. It's not a move. It's actually Charlie into the pit lane. Devon Young now going to be split away, but they push on the battery. They have the DRS just for a moment to go and close back up. It's Charlie on to a new set of tyres early on into this Grand Prix, and they go onto a set of hards. So what is the weather situation? Is it correct? Is it Eagle Pro to P1? It's not. It's Nivoyan now, the challenger, right behind. What can they do? No DRS for the Scotsman, and you just see Nifo back up. They know what's going to happen if they go for the move. So they can't afford to do it. It's side by side. We continue with the two champions, and Eagle Pro can't find a way through. DRS was not available for Zingy, and that wasn't the plan. I think they were both hoping for DRS and then to swoop ahead of Igor, but that just wasn't the way it worked out, and then that's why you saw Nivo just back up. And Igapro wasn't willing to push it too far. That's going to be a pit stop here for Nifayan, who covers off Charlie, and everybody else staying out. So an interesting call, and the weather may not be coming in till much later, as we thought. It's mighty clear to say that it's going to be a wet race later on. I'll say that for sure. Zingy, P1. Igor now P2 with a bit of a gap behind. Verf will be able to gain even more. That's Charlie getting a time penalty, unfortunately. Another time penalty, I should say. They're expected to get ahead of Nifayan, and they will do so because of that undercut. We'll see how that plays out in a few moments' time. But it's Igapro in free roam right now, and then it's Verf. We've got Devon Young now promoted up to P4 after the 2 pit stops. Net P6. And on the hard tyre, running with the lead hard tyre runner of Verf. And we'll see what they can do. Another pit stop. There is Verf, there is Solkin, there is a 10-second time penalty for Igapro for speeding in the pit lane, and welcome to F1 25. It seems that everybody is affected by speeding in the pit lane. Zingy's now left not on their own, but with Verf, the hard tyre runner, left on their own as a medium tyre runner. They've only got Jericho Willis to join them, who hasn't got DRS, which is absolutely brutal. But we've had a race winning contender now lose out, as they now have a 10-second time penalty. Nifayan is net P2 and in a very strong position, considering the car in front of them has 6 seconds or maybe 9 seconds of time penalties already in this race. Just for good measure, let's take away 3 and say that's 6, just in case they've been pushed off the track a few times, as you do now and again get pushed off at Belgium. It's Verf into the lead of the Grand Prix for the first time on this hard tyre. Zingy is not willing to go into the pit lane. Zingy continues to let it be, as I think they're confident in the DRS still being a thing and holding on to the Sauber car, but they are at risk of being fought by Devon Young. So they do have to be careful, but they're holding on to their strategy, to their tyre, for as long as they can. Solkin P9, 2.7 seconds behind, and that is the power of the undercut, and Zingy's going to be feeling that now. Devon Young goes for the move. You could see those tyres were absolutely cooked at the front end. Jericho Willis is going to be in a similar situation. They've got no cars ahead or behind them really, compared to everybody else and compared to the race so far. Zingy has to dive into the pit lane, surely. Continues to stay out. They're going to get DRS into turn 3, but I can't guarantee it for turn 4. It depends on how their exit is right here compared to the cars in front, but those tyres are dead. You can see how lazy that car is. So far, the race has changed, and we're just going to have a quick look further back down the order, because I want to check out Nifo and Igapro, as we've just double checked that nothing's going on here. We've got Nifo and Igor switching positions as they slingshot. Igapro now ahead, and they are going to try and catch up to Charlie. Of course, 10 and 9 second time penalties for both of those drivers, so Nifo's going to be in a benefiting situation. But it's interesting. First of all, Igor defending as they try and catch up to Charlie, but Charlie's now a lot quicker. They were very slow earlier on in this Grand Prix. Now they've changed something, and they've managed to keep the pace, or now be on pace with everybody else, and it's working quite nicely. Is it going to work for them later on in this race? Well, Devon Young goes into the pit lane at the same time as Zingy goes into the pit lane with his medium tyres, which is an interesting call, and I really do think the wet weather's going to be coming in. It should be a second set of medium tyres if it is going to be wet weather, and it is not going to be a second set. So it is going to be the hards, and I don't think we're going to get wet weather at all. I think it's going to be completely dry. There it is, Zingy and Devon Young coming out much further behind as all the pit stop runners end up finding their way through the order. It's Niffo who goes for the move, but a bit of a mistake, a very late lunge it looked like, and EagerPro will take that position immediately back with DRS to use as well. And it's now 2.3 seconds, so they've lost effectively 4/10 whilst fighting each other behind Charlie, who now finds themselves in the lead of the Grand Prix. Once more, net race leader 6 seconds away from the two cars that haven't made a pit stop. That's Jericho Willis and Verth. Jericho Willis not making a pit stop on this medium tyre, a little bit unheard of. More what I would have expected if the rain was going to come in. Maybe they think the rain is going to be on its way, but it's not. It's Verth who leads on a more standard strategy for the hard tyre, but once again, not entirely sure what their plan is in this race. Devon Young has already made their pit stop and they started on the hard tyre, and so did Tom Robb. So an interesting call. There we have the battle once again continues as Niffo now switches, goes for the move, and nice and quickly gains more time by, well, travelling very fast into turn 3. Now they gain about a 10th of lap time there. They don't have DRS. They used a bit of ERS and they've got a big gap to Igor at the moment, so they are pushing that car to the limit as much as they can. They've got Sulkin on their tail, ready to go for some sort of move if it was to arise, but Niffo is trying to make some progress here on Charlie's car. And we continue. I do apologise for the delay there. We see pit stop from Jericho Willis. It's Verth, the only car to not make a pit stop. They see the cars go by. It's 3-second time penalty territory for Devon Young, and Zingy is not going to be wanting to wait behind that car for too long. Both of these guys, of course, in the same situation tyre-wise at the moment. After starting on completely opposite tyres, it's a second set of hards for Devon Young, and starting on the mediums was Zingy. So Devon Young trying something completely different and expecting the wet conditions, and that's Jericho Willis and Tom switching as well. But I'm waiting to see this guy go into the pit lane. That is Tom leaving the session. Unfortunately, he should be able to join back. Pretty frustrating for them in this race right now, as everybody is somewhat close. We've got Verth continuing though. I do want to say once more, yes, this is a circuit that is probably the best for overtaking. So when you have good tyres, then you'll be good to go. But they only have 7 seconds behind to the next car, who has made a pit stop, and that's going to be pretty brutal for later on. There's a switch up. There's EagerPro going for the move once again as they maintain their gap to Charlie. It's now Zingy and Devon Young who switch, and it's going to be Zingy who breaks away. Devon looked like they were going to go for a move, but they didn't. They chose not to. You can see that by the battery. They could have used a bit more if they wanted to, but they were going to stay behind now. 3.4, 3.3 seconds. And they've gone for this big undercut for some better tyres, but you can just see how badly it's actually affected them. And I don't think really that tyre life difference has really been that good. So yeah, being in the train for these guys up in front is brilliant. Charlie's pace regardless is absolutely awesome, but it's Verth who still leads the Grand Prix on lap 18 out of 36. a bit more of a standard strategy compared to what you'd see in previous F1 games, for example 21, 22. But now it's a bit different. We see Nifo and EagerPro very close to one another. That's Nifo going for the move. EagerPro going to be looking to take it back immediately as they try and make progress on Charlie, but I think they're only losing time at this stage. Tom joins the session once again, and Sulkin joins the party of this battle to try and get that podium position for now, but it will be 2 cars on the podium. So currently it's net P4 for Sulkin, 2.6 seconds away. It is the Scotsman, the championship leader, the F1.5 champion, right behind him. And then we've got live seat with Jericho Willis for company, and Ed there, and Tom now close to one another after Tom's had that unfortunate connection issue. Oh, and they didn't quite get the steering input right there, but they are now back in the race. It's Verf once again leading the way, and I don't know if they're hoping for a safety car at this point or the wet conditions to come in as they expected, unless of course those wet conditions were just a complete fantasy. It is 4 seconds now that Verf has to the cars behind. And they're going to have to effectively gain 20 seconds on the entire field, plus more to overtake. 25 seconds, let's say, to try and get through what is likely to be the majority of the field, maybe apart from Edvir and Tom at most. And there it is, the pit stop section of pit stop is made. It's Devon Young with another time penalty, and the gap to the leader right now is 23 seconds for Edvir, so I think they will come out in P9. That is a 3 second for Nifayan. So after laughing earlier on at the cars around them, they are now in a little bit of a sticky situation, and it's Sulkin who is loving this. And actually, EagerPro has been passed by Sulkin, getting a 3 second time penalty as well. I don't know what's happened here, but now we see Sulkin in the net race lead of the Grand Prix as the battle continues. Zingy is now involved. Zingy is going to be catching. Devon Young will follow on as well. It's Sulkin into the lead of the Grand Prix with the time penalties being classed. It's Charlie, 2.6 seconds as they stay, but the battle continues and the Scotsman is on their way. We're looking to get a top 6 battle on some very interesting tyres. Of course, the cars up ahead are on the worst tyres, and I thought they would have been alright, but a bit of battling has changed everything, and now it is the 6-time champion on their way to try and do something about this. It's 5 tenths away, all of a sudden, just absolutely ate up that gap, and it's completely gone. And now welcome back everybody in the battle. It's going to be brutal. We get Livesey also and Jericho Willis fighting just behind as they switch positions into the first corner, but it's more about this right here. EagerPro, where are they going to go? Are they going to look at going for the move on Nifayan? No, they've backed off. They stay to the inside line just to spot their braking point, and everybody follows accordingly. It's Zingy making a mistake though, as they didn't quite judge what EagerPro was doing, and it's going to be DRS for Devon Young, but no move will be of it, as they don't have any battery to really fight regardless of if they wanted to go for it or not. Don't think it would have been that smart of an idea to go for the move regardless, but that's how that one goes, I guess. It's going to be an interesting sight to see with Verf on this fresh medium tyre. They've got Livesey and Jericho Willis and DRS of each other. Jericho Willis and Livesey have to try and work together here with Verf, but I don't know how simple that's going to be. Maybe Verf's strategy isn't so bad after all, but it's really going to be difficult to see. That's Charlie into the pit lane once again, and that's 13 lap on tyres not making it, so Nifo surely going to be looking at doing a similar thing. That is a fastest lap there for Verf as they continue to show their pace. The race leader, Sulkin, is not going to be pressured by Nifo as they don't want to go for the move, and Sulkin doesn't need to worry. Everybody stays single file. Turn 4 will come up next though. How will that change? Will it change at all? I don't think it will. Everybody's going to stay as they are. But this man is going to be on a bit of a charge as they switch to the inside line and lunge it down into turn 4. And surely on the throttle, opening up the steering as much as they can. Egapro does have the wider line, but they also have a different situation, a different time penalty situation, and they just had to let it be. That was a move that I was expecting. Maybe a lap later from Zingy, but still at some point I was expecting it. It's going to be Nifo into the pit lane, and well communicated between the two, it was there. So now DRS continues for the Scotsman. It's going to be a 2-stop race here. That's what it is. It's not wet conditions. You can look at the clouds left and right, just having a quick scan. I do apologise for the weird camera angles. It's the Scotsman who's now in P2 and once again looking to fight for the lead, and this time the lead, not the net race lead, the lead with Sulkin. Williams versus Racing Bull, that's what we saw in Azerbaijan in the Formula 1 World Championship. Back in Baku, it's Zingy who's going to try and show dominance by looking to the inside line as Sulkin did before in the early stages of this Grand Prix, and they're still going to go side by side. Surely Sulkin's not going to give it up this easily. They're not going to give it up this easily, but I don't think they have a choice as Zingy goes all the way around the outside, and that is a beautiful move on the inside line there. You are just at the mercy of the other car. You have to try and avoid contact at all costs, especially when you've got a car that has better tyres than you and has all the grip in the world. Making that pit stop though now splits Egapro away. DRS is available for the Aston Martin, and they might have just done enough to get back into DRS range, but I don't think it is. It's going to be Devon Young to try and be the saviour here, to go for the move. ERS, is it going to be used by Igor? No, it's not. It's going to be used by Devon Young, who goes for the move, and I think they were hoping they would have had the outside line, but they didn't. And now they're hoping that they can catch up, but now that's 1.9 seconds and Zingy is on an absolute storm. You can see they're pushing the battery as much as they can to do anything about this. That is going to be Tom Robb, who's actually fighting with Nifojan in the background. Sorry, I wanted to look at that battle, but we see Devon Young squirming on track. 1.8 seconds, it's not going to go so simple for them, but it is Tom and Nifo who were fighting a little bit just there, as Nifo is on this tyre, of course. 5.1 seconds splits them now, and with a 3-second time penalty it's 6 seconds, so it's actually 9/10 ahead is Nifo of Charlie. And the strategy is absolutely brutal. It's going to be Egapro into the pit lane. .4 seconds, Nifo catches up, the clouds are coming in, the rain could be arriving. Live CP5 now, as they have no pressure behind. We've got Charlie, the pole sitter and effectively the net race leader, on track at least, and with a brilliant strategy that I didn't expect to see. Is it the optimal one though? I don't know. Tom continues to battle these cars that are on a different strategy. 11 lap old hard tyres, taking them as long as they can. I don't think they're going to make it to the end of the Grand Prix. Sulkin though on the fresh hards, they are definitely going to give it a shot. Fresher than Nifoyan and fresher than Charlie, with no time penalty to their name, but the time penalty situation is currently not looking so great on Charlie, but it is looking pretty good on Nifo. Sulkin could still have a look at winning this Grand Prix here today. Their outright rival is Zingy, who still leads the Grand Prix with no challenger close behind. They were able to shake off Devon Young from the strategy situation before that. As they battled through the cars, they eventually got through. Egapro gets a 3-second time penalty to add, unfortunately, and after serving their 10-second time penalty, they add more onto it, and such a brilliant race has gone all the way now down the drain, and then at the back of the pack. Lots more cars yet to pit, but that is really brutal for Egapro. There is Verf in P2, we've got Jericho Willis who is now ahead of Devon Young. These guys have had history before. They switch up. Now Jericho Willis trying to get within DRS range of Verf, who is very much back into this Grand Prix. They're also not looking to pit again, which, in my opinion, is a pretty bold manoeuvre, especially considering all the other cars have made pit stops. Would they try and go for another set of medium tyres? I don't know. They've got track position, so they might look to try and hold it. Now Zingy leading the way by 1.3 seconds. Verf continues to bring that gap down. Jericho Willis is holding on to the Hungarian, but who will be able to take it longer? I mean, Verf's strategy should be able to go to the end, but it's going to be so tough and not optimal. Zingy continues out on track there, looking for the medium tower, I assume, to finish this Grand Prix. But with a strategy that I don't know how to call. It's impossible to say who is going to be aware. With pit stops being made, 2 for some, 1 for others, the mix is absolutely mind-blowing. That's Verf still staying behind, not willing to pass Zingy, but those tyres, those mediums, are going to get older and older, and Jericho Willis is going to be stronger and stronger. And of course Charlie will be able to gain through. Time penalty wise, absolutely brutal. I know we're looking at the gaps to the leaders, but we're going to go back down here as we see Devon Young and Charlie switch positions. Devon not willing to let it go that easily, staying to the inside line, pushing to the limit, and they do eventually yield to the pole as they go off track, unfortunately, trying to hold it, but the limit is there. 15 lap old tyres versus half the life of them is going to be virtually impossible to compete against. That's just the nature of it. Charlie's now to P4, 3.5 seconds away from the lead pack of the Grand Prix, and Verf is surely going to be looking at making the move on the Scotsman now. They're close, they're very close, they should have a good strategy, they should have a good tyre, they go for the move on the inside line. That is Edfear, slow at the final corner. It's going to be a normal green flag racing conditions. It's going to be a green car racing up front and into P1. Edfear does have a full front wing, and they are racing side by side with Tomwood. Verf now leads once again in this Grand Prix, looking for the crazy strategy call, which worked for them back in Brazil last season for LSI F 1.5. This is a bit of a different scenario. It's Charlie in the background, the 2 Williams cars having a brilliant race. Unfortunately, Solkin has had since a time penalty, and they are behind Nifo. And with everything that's gone on, Charlie has managed to gain a lot, but that's another time penalty. Don't tell me that's Charlie again. 18 seconds of time penalties. More time penalties for the pole. Jericho Willis now makes the move on Zingy. And with only a few laps to go, it looks like the Scotsman's trying to stay ahead, and they're trying to hope that they are going to be able to outpace Verf, because they're praying that everybody's time penalties are legitimate and they're not going to lose anything from it. That's what it looks like here. That's a 10-second time penalty for Edfear, unfortunately speeding in the pit lane as they retire. P11 not scoring any points. They did not want to worry about it, but we really do want to see this time penalty situation. Jericho Willis on 6 seconds of time penalties, 18 for Charlie, 9 for Devon Young, 3 for Nifo, Solkin and Tom, and it's 9 for Igor. Livesey Zingy and Verf the only cars to not do this. Now, the strategy of, well, Zingy is to pray that Verf's tyres die off. The strategy of Verf is to pray that Zingy's tyres die off. And here is the wet conditions that we were talking about. It is true, it's come about. And now the pit stops are going to be possible. Sulkin is battling just behind, as it's going to be Nifo who gets ahead of the Williams. They're side by side. Looking to the outside, switching to the inside, and that is a move for the ages. Will it work out though for Sulkin? Just about. There's a bit of pushing and shoving, and Nifo's not going to be happy with it, but they do let it happen in the wet conditions as well. That is a crucial moment because it's only going to get more difficult to make moves, and that's why it's brilliant to see Verf in the position that they're in right now. Their strategy might have just worked out to perfection, but it's going to be so hard to secure it. 12 lap old medium tyres, no matter how worn they are, if it's wet, it's going to be really tough for anybody to overtake. And that's what we're going to see. Devon Young going into the pit lane very early on onto the intermediate tyre. It's going to be Jericho Willis making use of this DRS whilst they can, but the DRS is going to come back here for Verf. And this is exactly what Verf wanted. They'll go to the outside line and they'll go, I was thinking ahead. Jericho Willis very close and looking like they were going to consider going back. These guys, rivals from previous seasons in F1.5, absolutely brilliant battles to watch, and now they continue in the tier above. You can see how slippy it is on the slick tyre. I don't know if we're going to actually see, however, a wet tyre really be necessary. That's why I was surprised at Devon Young's early call to make a pit stop. They'll be able to drive that intermediate tyre for a couple of laps, but I think EagerPro might end up overtaking them here in this race. On track, let alone on time penalties. With, of course, just a few laps of this race remaining, the rain isn't that heavy. And we're reaching a breaking point. There it is, Charlie to the inside line as they send it on the Scotsman, and Zingy can't do anything about it. Are they going to try and go for a move again? No, they're just watching everything go. As you see them wiggle the steering wheel, they're not happy. They're not happy with just being passed despite the time penalty situation. And what they want is as few cars in between, so then if Verf makes a mistake, they can make that move. But now there's even more cars in between, and it makes it even more difficult. And Zingy is dropping away from this train. Jericho Willis is giving it a very good shot on this tyre. It's Charlie who has the better tyre out of everyone right now, but it's Verf who leads the way with no time penalties on lap 34 on one of the most weird tyres ever. I would say it's really actually quite standard, but in the F125 game this does not make any sense at all. And he's still holding on. Jericho Willis, right now P2, looking to switch to the outside line, and they're going to give it their best shot, but it's Charlie who's also involved in this, and they're going to try and take the victory on track. Regardless, it's Verf who tries to push to the limit, their old rival, and here we go, Charlie to the inside line, and they get a free invitation into open air. Absolutely phenomenal stuff, and Jericho Willis will try and find their way through as well. And they've got the job done, and Verf now has a direct threat from Zingy behind, and they're hoping that their tyres just hold out a little bit more. They don't mind if Charlie ends up getting away. Oh, that's a 3 second for Sulkin. I thought it was for Verf. They don't mind if Charlie gets away because Charlie's got so many time penalties. Jericho Willis on less, 6 seconds. That being said, in a couple of laps, that shouldn't be a problem. It is really, though, a problem if Zingy gets too close. Zingy isn't that far away. 1.8 seconds though. They make a mistake. Ziggy Sao, I do not believe it. A puncture on Swansea Lappold hard tyres, and your championship leader is in P6 and gonna have to make a journey all the way around the circuit on 3 tyres. Zingy gets a puncture in the penultimate lap of the Grand Prix, and welcome to Austria, one of the most iconic circuits that sees one of the most disastrous moments in LSI history. I do not believe what we're seeing, and we are seeing Charlie lead the way by 1.2 seconds, Jericho Willis trying to have a go at P2, and Verth about to start the final lap on cue to take victory here in Austria. Sulkin in P4 at the moment. I think, if I'm correct, it would be Nivoyan who would lead the championship after the Austrian Grand Prix, if that is how it's going to go. Charlie leads the way onto the final lap. The closest battle we have is Sulkin and Nivoyan, as they are both on, well, I was going to say similar time penalties, but they're not. It is different. It's Livesey in P6. It's Devon Young on the tyre, and they're still holding on ahead of Egapro for now, but it's the Scotsman who's still going around the circuit and not able to really do anything about this. This is disastrous, absolutely heartbreaking. It's Charlie though into the middle sector of the Grand Prix, starting from pole position, giving it everything, and if it wasn't for the time penalty situation, they would have done an absolute masterclass and be taking victory here. But it's not going to be the case. It's not going to be the case at all. We're going to see Jericho Willis jump ahead of Charlie just for a moment to be P1 in the order, but it's going to be Verth who will get there. No time penalties, and a standard strategy from years ago has really played well. And Verth rounds the final corner. Charlie crosses the line, but it's going to be a puncher for Verth as well. Oh no, and he's done it. Verth takes victory in Austria. I thought it was a puncture. I think it was just a little bit of contact. It's going to be Jericho Willis for a P2 and another podium in LSI. It's Nivoyan with a second P3, and they take 14 points in both races, 28 points to their name, and that is going to be very, very strong indeed. Absolutely incredible. And Verth, you are a race winner for the first time in LSI F1. Absolutely amazing. This is the same driver that was asking me if they should go back to F1.5 this season. Well, you are currently the top driver in the league, and that is a little bit of a disastrous sight there for Egapro. It's Zingy who is doing one of the most strangest laps of all time as they overtake the entire field in the wet conditions, looking like a boss on the slick tyre, but unfortunately it's only for 1 point for them. And what a shame to see that one go. It would have been a nice battle at the very end between Verth and Zingy, but now the championship lead is no longer theirs. It is Verth who takes victory for the second round in the championship. 10 remaining. Wow. Just what a race. And they march onto the podium. I don't know if that's a march or what it is. Just excitement indeed. Verth is the race winner in Austria. The Red Bull Ring is dominated by green this time. It's Jericho Willis in P2 and it's Nivoyan in P3. Sulkin, Charlie, Dr. Livesey. Then we've got Devon Young, Tom Robb, Egapro, and then with a puncture for Zingy and DNFing earlier on was Ed Fear. The session results have been saved and the race director is on your screen just in case, because it might be needed a little bit later on. But once again, Austria always delivers, and that was one to watch. I do not believe what I've just witnessed, but it's happened, and we'll find out from the drivers very shortly. We'll see you in a bit. Hello everyone and welcome to the post-race interviews of the Austrian Grand Prix. That was absolutely incredible right there action on track. Nifo, we start with you. I might be wrong in saying this, but I think you're the championship leader. I'm not entirely sure. I'll have to double check that. Can you take us through your race? That was absolutely brutal. And when did you think the rain was going to come in?
Yeah, it was a bit tricky. I mean, it was tricky from qualifying. I mean, mostly my first run is like one of my best ones, and I feel like the best one, and immediately I invalidated, didn't have enough fuel. Then my second run didn't go to plan, and my third run didn't go to plan because I went off in the final corner. Um, so I already started in like not really a good place, but I got a decent start, gained a position, then had a good move, was P3 for a while. Then I think, yeah, I should have been a lap earlier, but it's all in hindsight. And then I think the middle part of the stint was pretty okay managed. Yeah, and then the last stint was basically just a bit of a gamble. Like the people at the front, they probably thought it was gonna rain harder, or they could make the tires last. I certainly felt like that wasn't possible. And yeah, so I just pitted, and then I think the rain, obviously it came. It wasn't. I mean, we knew it was gonna come, but I was a bit of a shame that I thought, if it comes like the final 2 laps, it's fine. But it came a bit too early, so we couldn't really push to catch the guys in front because everybody was sliding, so the tire advantage basically kind of went away. I do feel like there's a varying degree of luck with how the tires lasted. I don't know how much of a tire whisperer everybody is at the front, but seeing as Zingy's tires popped and he was like the last on the train, I feel like some got maybe a bit lucky that the tires lasted, but I mean everybody got a bit lucky or unlucky that race, so it's not an excuse. I feel overall I didn't make a massive mistake. The time penalty was not great. It was just a misjudgment, but I think a lot of people did it. So I think overall I didn't make a massive mistake like I've done like the past 10 races. So it's a bit of a shame to lose out on P2 by like 200s, but I think overall my race was okay managed. I didn't have any major incidents. I avoided them and kept it on track. So I'll take the P3.
So first time you avoid major incidents, you gain the championship lead. So congratulations, thank you very much, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time.
Thank you.
And we move on to Tom. Tom, that was a tough one. Connection issues. First race back for Ferrari, and it didn't go quite to plan.
Like, first in the qualifying, I was completely off pace. Theoretical, I was able to do 4.0 or 4.1. I was 8/10 off. That was just a horrendous qualifying. Didn't get the confidence in I needed. Then planned to go for the double hard and hoping for the rain at the end. Hindsight didn't work out as well as I would have planned, but I think I would have still gone for it. Then had really good first laps, stayed close to the field, stayed in DRS range, which was the first in like half a year, which is good after lap 1. Yeah, then before the pit stops, I lost that on DRS because of the cars pitting. Did a few mistakes and then had a bigger gap. Yeah, on the second stint, I was faster than the guys ahead. Was getting too lively to Devon and to Zingy as well, which I was quite happy about it. And then I just got a black screen in the game, which is just really weird, which happened to me also a few times now, but the last time is a few weeks ago. I just have completely back screen if I'm tapped in, and if I tap out of the game, I can see the game again. So I had to restart my game, lost around 10 seconds. Else I would have been definitely ahead of Livesey after or toward the end of the stint, and probably would have caught up a bit to Devon and Thingy. So that was annoyed me quite a lot. And then a few minutes later, just the same thing happening. I just lost out again on a few seconds. Then the AI pitted my car, which I wasn't really happy about. because I tried to extend the tire to get into the rain situation, even though I didn't manage it in the end. And now looking with the time I lost through all that, I probably lost over 15 seconds. And I think I could have been close to at least Devon in the end. And looking at the penalty and how my race went afterwards, I think maybe Livesey would have been possible, and through the penalty Charlie as well.
Yeah, it's a shame that it went that way, but I think from what you said, you've learnt once again how it is to be back in the DRS train, and I hope you can take that momentum into the next few races. So hopefully you can get those issues sorted and take the good bits for the rest of the championship. Thank you very much, Tom, and welcome back to Ferrari. And we move on to Sulkin. Sulkin, that was a brilliant race for a while. Unfortunately, it didn't go quite your way in the end, but you did get a very strong position of P4 compared to last time out in Zandvoort, of course. I don't know. It looked like it could have been a victory at some point, but can you take us through it?
Yeah, well, the start was pretty good. I managed to get two position of Jericho and Worth, so that made me P5 after my bad call lap in Q1. And then after that, I just stayed in the DRS train, tried to get as few penalties as possible. But that was getting hard after I got double warning on the straight after turn 5. So I got 6 seconds of penalty, but I managed to stay quite well with DRS train, I think. And yeah, if it wasn't for the penalties, I probably would be like P2, P3, something. Yeah, so it would be nice not with the penalties, but yeah, it's racing. And this race I really liked. It was my highest ever finished in this league. P4 is higher than my P5 in Sandwork at 1.5. So yeah, very happy with the race, but it could be better.
It should be good motivation going into the next few races. I'm sure you'll be absolutely great. Thank you very much for the race today. Thank you very much for the great entertainment you gave on track with a few cheeky moves to the inside, and we'll see you next time. Well done.
Yeah, thanks.
And we move on to Jericho Willis. Jericho, that is another podium in LSI. Of course, last weekend it was an F1.5. Now you've made it work. Not quite the P1, but the P2 in the championship. Especially when some others have had some issues. You've had a massive gain in points there.
Yeah, all in all, it was a very good result. Definitely a lot better than what I thought. But qualifying was underwhelming for sure. I was definitely thinking I would be within about a tenth of what Charlie did, and just the nerves, I guess. It was not well executed in qualifying, so that was disappointing. I know I easily could have got a 0.4, so should I say easily? Obviously I didn't, but was very possible and just was driving terribly. But then the start of the race, or the great start of the race, got up along Verth, and unfortunately, he probably had someone on the outside of him, so he didn't have enough space to room. So I got forced off on the inside, picked up a track limits there, and it really compromised my exit, so I lost a position, a couple positions there. So that was disappointing, cost time, and then made a big mistake. I missed my braking point a little bit later on. And fortunately, Sulkin was had his kind of head on a swivel and was able to see my mistake, and didn't give him any damage, and he was able to avoid it. And then quickly tried to get out of the way and give back that, and then two other positions, just because I felt, you just feel really bad when you do something stupid like that. And but that cost me a ton of time and broke my concentration. So all in all, if that hadn't happened, the win was absolutely possible today. Just too many little mistakes. The pace was absolutely there. The ability to keep the tires alive was excellent. And so all in all, happy with a lot of things. But, you always have that missed opportunity. You see the mistakes that cost you the win, and they're always highlighted to you. But that's okay. We learn from it, and I'd also just like to, say how gutted I am for Heich that he missed this race, because his pace was good here. I know he would have been in for the win here as well. A possible double podium for McLaren would have been awesome, and good for him as well. So, but it was damage limitation. The people high up in the championship did not do well today, minus Nifo. But, I don't think he's out of reach by any means. And so it's still all to play for moving on to the next week.
You're second in the championship, and you are now pushed up to second in the team's championship as well. I think you can take a lot of pride in what you've done today. So, congratulations. The momentum is looking really good with you as well. So, impressed. And I can't wait for the next one. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
And we move on to Charlie. Charlie, a brilliant pole up, I have to say. But, that's really tough for you in the race. What happened in the beginning?
I don't remember genuinely. I fell back quite a bit. I mean, well, first of all, I'm kind of ill. I think you can tell. But the second thing is I've come back to this game after, I think, a win. A win. What the fuck? A month. Jesus, sorry, my brain is not working.
No worries.
And so yeah, I just basically had no experience at all, like no consistency, and I just fell back quite a few places. And like after a few laps, I caught onto the rhythm. After that, the pace was really good. Also, shout out to my boy Heichlar, who's unfortunately not with us today. His GPU fucking died before the race. Unfortunate. And very goated strat, won me the race. Pole position, race win. Let's get it.
It's just a shame for the penalties, but yeah, it was a really good one.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
What?
Penalties?
Jericho Willis in P2,
Yeah,
and it's
what about them?
Yan in P3. Sulkin. Did you have a bug, or?
I don't know what you're talking about, actually. Like, for real.
18 seconds of time penalties.
Nah, that's... What? No, that must be wrong.
Okay, we'll have a look at that one after the interviews, if that's right. Sorry for that. Okay, well, regardless, it was a really good race. A really good drive from you. I can't take anything away from that. Just so far on our screen it says 18 seconds of time penalties. So yeah, we'll look at that in a bit. Thank you very much, Charlie. Really good effort today, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, thank you.
And we move on to Devon. Devon, that was a tough one. I mean, you were in the fight for the win earlier on. I think Charlie's messing around me, surely.
Oh my! Oh, sorry, that was a funny one. Yeah, Charlie, obviously, like, I don't really know what you're on about, Aaron. That was just making me laugh because clearly you got something wrong there. About the penalties, anyway. But nah, the race, the race was very bad. I like can't tell what's going on my screen half the time playing. I pretty much have these like stutters that come in like they're like really like they've got like a tempo. They like turn on for a second and they turn off, then they turn on, there's enough, and it's just really distracting. And it always happens, but today it was happening so much, so I couldn't really tell what was going on. That's why I had like 9 seconds of penalties. I don't even remember what happened in the race. I just sort of wanted to like back myself up, saying why I didn't do well. My game doesn't work, so. Hello?
Sorry. I was completely distracted. Your game doesn't work. Oh my days. I've just
Great interview, mate.
I've just been completely thrown off there. I do apologise. Thank you, Devon.
End the stream, mate.
I'm so lost. Okay. Yeah, thank you, Devon. Really good effort today. Sorry for this. and we'll see you next time. We move on to Ziggy. Ziggy, I don't really know what's going on, but I do know what happened with you. One of the most dramatic ways to end a race, and then also one of the weirdest final laps we've ever seen before as well. Can you take us through your race and what you were expecting? Did you really think the tyre would hold on?
Yeah, yeah. The tire was a bit how would you call it? Delaminated, I guess you could say. But the quality pace was good. The first 2 laps were really bad, and I managed to pull it out at the last moment. You see, the guy that got pole, Charlie, the guy who won the race eventually, you know. Yeah, he had too good of a lap time, so I couldn't really achieve that. He was on fire, and during the race, I was trying to conserve tires, just make sure I got to the end. And unfortunately, this Sauber came out of nowhere on his medium tires and somehow made it to the end. I don't understand how that worked. And then I don't know what Charlie's talking about. Cause clearly, not Charlie. I don't know what you're talking about, Aaron. Because Charlie clearly finished P1, as you can see by the screenshot and chat. So I'm very happy for him. He's obviously L, and he's not been racing for a while, so it's good to see. He's doing so well for himself, and yeah, it's just unfortunate, but I had the pace to win, I think, and I don't know if I'll be able to stop Charlie, but I think I had a chance to, and it's just unfortunate that these things happen.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, wait, in the last lap, you didn't see any of that, right?
I saw some of it. You retain the team's championship lead, so at least there's that, but hopefully it goes well for you next time in Singapore. So thank you very much, Zingy. Really good effort today. I'm sorry that it went the way it did, but you'll be strong next time.
Yep.
And we move on. For Charlie's sake, I hope they're right. For Verf's sake, I think that's right. Congratulations to Verf for the victory today. Thank you very much, everybody, for watching. It's been a pleasure. We'll see you tomorrow for the F1.5 EU Championship. Have a good one. Bye-bye.